Hopefully this works. Continuing part 2 of, so we have to stretch our limit in order to grow it. Like if this is the limit of my strength, I have to get further. And how we don't even get to enjoy what we did all the work and sacrifice and paid for when there's strain and stress and numbness, objectification, indifference, abandonment, carelessness, victimhood, and crudeness. All of that together prevents us from being present with our actual blessings that we'll get to. And based in inadequacy, we end up having consolation prizes, quick fixes, and short circuits. The indulgence ends up being justified, but we lose our self-respect and self-trust and confidence, and we don't end up making space for meaning. And there's this self-righteous, self-loathing grandiosity that is overcompensating. So the solution is, all we have to do is believe that there's enough light to illuminate the shadow, so that we don't have to be in denial or unconsciously being run on these programs that don't even work for what I'm trying to achieve or acquire. And so I said, what do I want? Like, that I wouldn't have to escape for. What would I want? A man who's proactive about, so this is what I said, I want a man. Maybe I decided the man would bring me more health and money and all the other things I want. But in the moment that I wrote it, a man who's proactive about seeing me, spending time, using the phone to send love, and coming up with ideas for activities and having initiative, giving positive feedback and words of encouragement and affirmation, who picks his battles and doesn't fault find, which means looking for the bad and justifying it, and then blaming the one you found bad things, as if it's not something we all have to work on. Giving free love without getting anything back. And in my women's empowerment group, we talked about boundaries. So boundaries are often rooted in our expectation. Oh, and this is done with Bridget Newton. You know, we learn about how boundaries are often founded in our expectations and needs that help us feel safe and comfortable in relationships. And the challenges that could be are they mine or are they my mother's or grandmother's, like someone who's late or curses a lot, or the crudeness of sexual comments? Is that my boundaries or the boundaries I inherited from my mother and grandmother? Also, like, 2, someone who can't meet my boundaries now, how do I follow through, enforce, and do the consequence, like someone who's a chronic interrupter? Or 3, wanting people who cannot, to be able to can. Like, they cannot, but I want them to can. I want them to be able. And then I get stuck in the power struggle of blame or shame or guilt, rather than just me privately knowing them, not exposing the boundaries to someone who will challenge, refuse, and push back. In other words, this person cannot be what they cannot be. And then, of course, being prepared for surprises and anchoring myself to hold strong with beliefs when I see the lessons that are being shown, you know, with the boundaries. Because remember, this is at our limits. There's a lot that comes up at the limit. It's like a threshold for growth, for transformation, for infinity, endlessness, possibility. There's physical boundaries, intellectual boundaries, emotional boundaries, sexual boundaries, material boundaries, time boundaries. And, for example, something that I thought about was I'm not willing to reward bad behavior as an enabler. What does that mean? For me, today it means I don't let someone abuse me, right? So also we have to practice in advance often to be prepared with our boundaries. A confident body language, be respectful, plan ahead. Compromise is a way to communicate boundaries with somebody where you feel it's a challenge. Knowing the boundary clearly before trying to communicate it to someone will be very helpful. And also, some people, they get like this white picket fence as a boundary in my world, and other people, they get barbed wire with pit bull guard dog as the boundaries. I love pit. I'm not saying I don't love a pit bull. I just meant, you know what I'm saying, like a guard dog. Okay. Identifying the roles that I play in order to get love and be used will also tell me what my boundaries are, because if I don't need love from the outside, I might not need as many boundaries over there, because I may be less dependent, where it's safer for me to not get my needs met there, because I won't end up feeling like deprived or dissatisfied or in survival mode, God forbid. Finally, being in the solution versus the problem. So if I need my boundaries, I need my boundaries. I don't need to be in the problem where, oh, they're not respecting my boundaries, and worrying about rules that control others, rather rein it back in. What are my boundaries? And the last thing we'll talk about here is Chovos, halevovos, the 8th treatise, chapter 3. This is on examining the soul. There are 30 ways of accounting whereby it'll become clear through them what a man is obligated to in his God when he puts them to heart and takes on himself to reflect on them and always remember them. 1, obligation to serve God for creating him, elevating him over other creations and taking care of his needs. 2, a debt to God for one's body. 3, for a debt to God for one's intellect. 4, for the Torah. 5, the obligation to study the Torah beyond the superficial. 6, the obligation not to disobey God. 7, to complete the conditions of slavehood to God. 8, obligation to serve God sincerely. 9, intent in prayer and mitzvos. 10, the watching of the Creator. 11, regular accounting of one's deeds. 12, the pursuit of the physical. 13, not to waste any time. 14, the spider web. 15, preparing for the journey. 16, reflecting when seeing sudden death. 17, benefits of solitude. 18, the elevation of man. 19, disasters of the world. 20, acquiring and spending money. 21, contemplating divine help. 22, loving others for what you'd love to love for others what you'd love for yourself. 23, seeing God in nature. 24, with a child's eyes. 25, fire and water. 26, fearing a mortal king. 27, bearing suffering. 28, total acceptance. 29, greatness of the soul. And 30, that we are a stranger in a strange land. And we will stop here. And this will be the third video. So it's for Thursday. I did one for Friday and Wednesday already. And now this will be for Thursday. The next video I will do will be after the Sabbath. All the best. Bye.